What's up, good people? What's up, good people? It's your boy, Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr., the Impact Builder, coming to you from the lab in the brand new suite. It's another Mindset, Motivate, Move Monday. So I want you to get ready to move. As I always ask you every single Monday, how was your weekend? Did you do something fun? My fun actually was I actually watched there was a movie I wanted to watch called One Night in Miami, and y'all will get that in a minute, even though it was work, but it was still kind of fun though too. So I wanted to watch that movie, so I put that on and happened to watch that this weekend. I'm sorry, y'all. I needed to get that drink of water. I had to watch that movie part because I wanted to see it because I thought it was fun, but um, it's part of what I got for you this week as part of the brand new suite. So let's hop into it. This week we're going to talk about One Night in Miami, but we're going to talk about 4 men, 1 room, 5 principles that every leader must master. So we're going to talk about these 5 principles that every leader must master. And we're going to use as a case study, as an example, the 4 men from One Night in Miami. And for those that might not be familiar with the movie or you haven't seen the movie is about Muhammad Ali, then Cassius Clay, Jim Brown, Sam Cooke, and Malcolm X. They were friends. They were actually friends. And what they had, this was the meeting that they had with each other. They gathered in Miami before Muhammad Ali, who was getting ready to fight Sonny Liston. And like I said, at the time, he was Cassius Clay. This is a business and leadership perspective, about talking about that we're going to be talking about this week. So I want you to grab hold of this. If you're a leader, if you're an organization, if you're an entrepreneur, these 5 principles you must master, because here's the thing behind this idea, this week's big idea. What happens when 4 of the most influential black leaders, which they were of the 20th century, they gather in one room. You don't just see conversations. It wasn't just conversations when you watch this movie. You get a kind of a master class, so to speak, in leadership, in branding, in ownership, in purpose and legacy. And you'll get that as we talk this week. This week's podcast is, we're moving beyond the movie, because it's not about the movie, it's about the characters in there, but to uncover 5 timeless business principles that I want you to be able to have, that every entrepreneur, every leader, organizational leader and organization must master to build lasting influence and meaningful impact. So I want you to grab that this week. This is what the assignment that we're on this week. So we're going to focus on each day. We're going to focus on one particular character and that particular character's principle that they represent. So let's hop into this. Today we're going to talk about identity. And we'll talk about identity creates influence, and we're going to use Muhammad Ali, the Muhammad Ali principle. Great brands don't chase attention; they establish their identity. Muhammad Ali knew who he was from day one. He always claimed to be the greatest. He never allowed his industry, boxing, nor his personal beliefs, even the Nation of Islam, to dictate and give him his identity. It was always his own. Before Muhammad Ali became the greatest boxer in the world, he first became comfortable with who he was. Are you, as an organization, as a brand, and as an individual, are you comfortable with who you are, or do you allow society to dictate who you are? And here's what will happen if you allow society to dictate who you are. You'll find yourself being here, being this person one minute, being this person the next minute, being this person the next minute, trying to please everyone. And that's not how those who are strong in their identity actually act. That's not how we operate. he didn't. Here's the thing: Muhammad Ali didn't build his influence because he was because of he won championships. That's not why he won. Yes, he very talented, successful. Absolutely, he was, but that was not it. He built influence. His influence came from because he owned his identity. He was comfortable in his skin. He was comfortable with being who he was, regardless of who thought what about him. You know, and you as an entrepreneur, every entrepreneur that's watching this, that's listening to this, that's hearing this, eventually discovers the same truth. Hopefully you discovered that same truth, that nobody gives you your identity. You have to have your own identity. People don't buy confusion. They don't buy this person this week, this person next week. Be like, well, who they are? Who are they? Do they even know who they are? They buy their clarity. They buy your clarity. They buy, as a brand, they buy your clarity, knowing who you are. I was listening to Eric Thomas on my walk this morning, real quick. I was listening to Eric Thomas this morning, and he was talking about Chick-fil-A and the reason for Chick-fil-A's success. The reason Chick-fil-A is successful as it is because of their identity. They know who they are. The creator, owner, then he's passed away, but owner of Chick-fil-A, he knew who he was, and he also knew who Chick-fil-A was going to be. That means not opening on Sundays, and him taking time out of his I think his week, his month, and his year. He takes time to actually just think and everything like that. But in being customer oriented, or customer centered, that's the core of who. That's the identity of Chick-fil-A. I don't care what you say. Chick-fil-A is not going to be open on Sunday. It's not, and it's still the um, number three restaurant in I think nationwide. Maybe I don't know if it's globally or nationally, but it might be both. But here's the thing about that: they're number three, and they're closed on Sunday. Imagine what would have happened if they were open on Sunday. So we'll leave it at that. But that's what it is. They have clarity. And that's why Chick-fil-A's lines are around the block, because they're not confused. Muhammad Ali was not confused. None of these men that we're going to be talking about this week were confused about who they were. They were all solid in their identity, because your identity determines your positioning. Your identity determines your positioning. Your positioning determines your influence. So I want you to carry that today. Carry that today. Your positioning determines your influence. I got to get into these these discussions. What I want you to think about today, really quickly. Why identity is your greatest competitive edge. I want you thinking about these things today as you go through the day. Why is your identity your greatest competitive edge? And I want you. This is your homework. I'm gonna give you this as your homework to be able to. Why is your identity your greatest competitive edge? Why branding begins internally before it's seen externally. How clarity attracts the right opportunities. How will clarity attract the right opportunities for you? I want you to listen to these questions. I want you to write them down. And if you got to come back and listen to it, then come back and listen to it. And then the last one: why authentic leaders build stronger businesses. Why do authentic leaders build stronger businesses? Can someone describe your brand in one sentence? We've talked about this before. It's what's your 30 to 60-second pitch. Can they describe? Can you describe your brand in one sentence? Just one. If not, then your marketing can't be either. So you have to shore up those particular things. So before you become unforgettable to the marketplace that you're in, you must become undeniable to yourself. Are you undeniable to yourself? Because if you don't know who you are, if you deny who you are, then how do you expect someone else to believe who you are? And so you have to take that and as Muhammad Ali, and not be afraid of who you are. Believe in who you are. Identify who you are. Your identity should be so strong to the point where your identity enters the room before you do. Your identity, you want your identity to enter the room before you do. Where people already know, and I've had this happen where I was at a conference and I believe it was a young lady came up to me and she said, "Aren't you so and so and so and so?" I was like, "Yeah, yeah." She was like, "Oh, I see you, you know, here. I see you on, platforms and everything like that." And that's because of my identity. That's because I'm not afraid to be the what? Impact builder. Everything that I do filters off of being the impact builder. That's my identity that I have grown my brand to be. JNF, same thing. Enlighten, empower, impact. That's the identity that I swear by. That's the personal value system and that's the brand value system that I have. Those are the things that make who I am. You have to have that same identity. So that's what I got for you today. All this week, what we're going to be dealing with, the 5 principles every leader must master. And we're using One Night in Miami, the movie, the characters from the movie, in order to be able to show you those 5 principles. So we'll be back tomorrow with Principle 2, with Brother Malcolm. And if you don't know him, I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, if you want to go into greater detail about these principles that you must master, then of course, hop on the schedule your strategy session. We'll be able to talk about this in greater detail, assist you with bringing your vision to reality, and be able to ensure that by the end of this week, you have the tools you need. You are equipped to master your craft, the industry, and the marketplace at an elite level. And that's mastering these leadership principles in order to be able to be who it is that you're called to be. So we'll see you all tomorrow, right back here. Talk to me Tuesday. We'll see you all soon. Peace.